mountain, personal growth. I have with me one of the most amazing young women that has come along a long time. And let me explain to you what makes her so amazing. The fact that she, as I tell so many of you, she took her health into her own hands and was able to manage her illness, but also crush through an illness that would leave other individuals, especially women, completely debilitated. Now, Paula Martino is an incredible lady. She is a businesswoman who has managed, and well, she started, managed, operated a huge billing company that works specifically with chiropractors across the country. But then, in keeping with her own philosophies on health, she took it upon herself to become a health and wellness coach. And that's where we meet. As you know, I'm a certified health and life coach. But she is such an amazing lady. And I want to delve into her story a little bit and talk a little bit, gain some insights, gain some wisdom from this incredibly young lady, and also perhaps just bask in her beauty. In the meantime, let's do this. Let's bring her on. We're going to invite her now to come on. Paula Martino, welcome to Crush Your Mountain.
Hi, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Henry, for having me. It's a pleasure and honor. Looking forward to chatting for the next 45 minutes. So what do you got in store for me today, my friend?
Well, what I have in store is just to learn from you and ask you a little bit about your journey. Could you do that, please? Kind of expound on your health journey, some of the things that you've overcome, you've had to deal with, and what inspired you to continue to move forward instead of just letting the doctors tell you what to do?
I love it. I love it. Sure, I'd love to share a bunch of my story. So back, it really starts in 2007 when I decided to take my health in my own hands. And I found a great program and lost 55 pounds in 4.5 months and was working out, and I was feeling really good. And I had begun to pay it forward and be a health coach and assist and help others to do the same, because if I walked it, I knew I'd be able to walk alongside of somebody else and help them walk it also. So that's kind of where it all began. And then my thirst, if you will, for knowledge really started to grow as I started to get exposed to Dr. Anderson's works. And I started to read about the habits of health system and how to make transformation lasting. And then really started to dive into some of the other stuff he had. I was like, I can take all my health into my own hands because I have a rare liver disease. And so unfortunately, as fate would have it, I went into liver failure back in 2012. And it was through a series of events that brought me there. Now I had already lost my weight, and thank goodness I did, because the doctors told me had I not been in such good shape and had I not lost the weight, that I could have been looking at a very grave situation. And so my quest began for how I can make myself healthy again. I came out of liver failure by the man above, I'm sure. And I just said, okay, I've really got to take my health into my own hands. It's my responsibility to make sure that I can be the best me I could be. And that meant being healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. So many times doctors tend to, especially in this country, Western medicine, tend to treat us in terms of body parts. First of all, they treat symptoms, right, but then they treat us as body parts. You have a problem with your kidneys, you have a problem with your liver, etc. How did you navigate away from allowing yourself to just follow that lead, but again, take the charge and say, this is what I need to do for my body?
Because when I came to liver failure, I had been at a healthy weight. Liver failure itself you gain a massive amount of weight, but that's really just fluids. But I was at a healthy weight and I had a really good muscle mass. So I was already on that journey of taking care of my physical self, but I was missing a few pieces. And so when I was introduced to my liver specialist, who's world renowned, and there's only 2 in the United States that treat my disease, he and I butted heads a little bit because he looks at my liver, and God bless him. Thank you. I appreciate that he does. He does a really good job of that. But I look at my liver and then everything else about me, like osteoporosis, or having too much body fat, not having enough muscle mass, not eating a properly balanced, nutritious diet. If I stuck to the diet that they wanted me to be on, I would have been a house, because it was very white carb laden. So that was really a tough thing. There's something in this screen. I'm not sure if you're seeing it. I'm going to minus that down. Yeah, that was on your side, I think, but we're good now. I started to look elsewhere for information, and I found a really good functional medicine doctor at an event that I was doing, believe it or not. And we sat down. I happened to have had my blood results on my phone, and we went through them. And he had prescribed an incredible regimen to take care of. At that time, I was just diagnosed with osteoporosis. So that was back in 2018. And they said it was severe. So in 2018, I was 5 years younger. 5 years younger puts me at 58. So I got nervous because I wasn't getting younger. I couldn't take any of the medications that osteoporosis that they say to take, because my liver could not handle it. I got sick every time I tried. I was forced to really look for alternatives. So I found a great functional medicine doctor. He gave me an excellent bone pill, which had calcium, magnesium in it. But more importantly, he prescribed for me vitamin D3 and vitamin K2. Now, I caution you, he gave me a lot because my vitamin D level was only a 9. And that's really low.
Well,
so I needed to get that number up.
Yeah, you see, that's the challenge. There's this recommended daily dose that is prescribed for people when it comes to vitamins, but that's not even the optimum for the individual. That's just kind of a base level for what they feel to keep you from getting sick, just barely. So it stands to reason that upping the dose and giving those massive amounts that would improve your health would do the trick. But I'll tell you what, we're happy to have you here. We were happy that you actually was doing the weightlifting beforehand. And did you go ahead and increase some of that weight bearing exercise?
So I had been dabbling with exercise because I knew it was a habit of health. I didn't monitor consistently how many steps I did a day. But I was at the gym 5 days a week, and I wasn't monitoring how efficient my body was burning or how much muscle mass I was gaining. Okay. But fast forward, I started to do that. So along with having the vitamin D3 and the K2 and that calcium magnesium supplement he had me taking, I also started to monitor how many steps I did a day. So for me, 10,000 steps a day is a habit of health. That it is not included in what I say is exercise. or what is really deemed as exercise. It's just a habit of health to get 10,000 steps in. That could mean standing at your desk and working. That could mean walking further in a parking lot. That could mean taking the stairs versus an elevator. So, and even taking the stairs versus an escalator. There's so many ways to add the extra motion in and get those steps in. So for me, 10,000 steps a day it's a must. There's no going, there's just not, like, if I go upstairs to go to bed at night and I'm at 9,800, I will walk in my bedroom back and forth until I hit 10,000.
Wow. So here's that's the excellent part. But now when it comes to the muscle building aspect, for the sake of strengthening the bones, because what I try to help my clients to understand is that when you are actually building muscle, your body responds, your bones respond, and they strengthen themselves. And so tell us about your weight bearing exercise, and then show off a little bit. We got to get you to make a muscle. But tell us about your
Okay. So for the last, so it's pre-COVID now. So COVID happened in 2020, 19, 18. Since 2015, I had been consistently doing like a HIIT class, CrossFit, HIIT, boot camp, give it whatever name you want to give it. But I'm an old person. And so for me, that was like calisthenics back in elementary school. And that was like taking the president's test. You had to do squat thrusts and push-ups and sit-ups and climb the rope and all that stuff. So that's kind of like the class that I do. And I do that 5 days a week. I also do a stretch class that includes a little bit of yoga 5 days a week. So those those three things are a given in my program. Now I'm nursing an injury, so I am a little crazy, I have to admit, because I have not gotten to the gym, but because I'm wearing a boot, you can all see that. But today in the mail, I love Amazon, little plug for Amazon there, I got my heel sneakers so that I could be even, and now I can go and walk at the gym. I can do any kind of squats, anything, because I'm even. It's a great platform, and I can get my stretch class back in again because I'm feeling like I'm missing something, a part of me. So that's how I take care of that currently. And let me tell you something, a plug for Apple. I don't care what product you use though, but I love my Apple Watch because that keeps me on point. I have my numbers set for a minimum burn of 500 calories a day, typically outside of exercise. I have it where it's set to monitor my steps. I look to get 10,000 steps a day. I have 12 out of 12 hours a day I look to have for standing. And I have, the last circle is activity, exercise, formal exercise. So, and I have that set to a half hour a day. I always exceed it, but that's the minimum that I want to see myself do every day, is a half hour a day.
All right, you know what that means. That means you got to put up a muscle.
Okay. All right. Sorry. It's coming. Ta-da.
Holy mackerel, folks, do you see that? Do you see that? Okay, we got to see that because I've got a little bit, she's scaring me, okay? So now the understanding is this, you see, when we take the time to just do little incremental stuff, that's what it really amounts to.
Yes.
Tell us, okay, did you use a whole lot of 65 and 55 pound weights to get biceps and triceps like that?
No, actually, I use really low weights typically. I will swing a 30-pound kettlebell, But I can't press a 30-pound kettlebell. There's no ways. My shoulders are too old. So I press comfortably 15 pounds. And I can do that on either side. That's the max of my weight. If I'm doing a lot of repetitions and they're quick, I'll lower my weight so I don't injure myself.
Right.
It all depends on the kind of workout that I'm doing that day. And a fun class that I love to take a lot is a Tabata class. And that's where you're doing 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest, 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest. If you do a 15-minute Tabata class every day, and then some other formal, maybe push-up, sit-up, something, I promise you, you'll feel amazing. Tabata is a great way cardiovascularly to bring your heart up and down, up and down. And that's what you want. That's the biggest muscle you want to exercise, or the most important one really, is your heart muscle. And when you do that, it exercises your heart muscle and it builds endurance in it.
Yes. So this is the interesting thing. You know, she said the lower weights is what she'll use, especially with the higher reps. Now, my good friend, last week we had John Hobbs, the Silver Fox, on. Bodybuilder at 75 years old, won his most recent contest. And a little point of wisdom that he leaves with us is time under tension. So a lot of guys, like I saw a kid in the gym the other day, and he was jerking his head up like that, and jerking himself up, like that. And I said to the trainer, that boy is going to hurt himself. He had about 15, 16 years old, So, I went over to the kid, introduced myself, told him what I do. And I went ahead and kind of coached him and schooled him on proper form and taking the time now. Okay, obviously that's too heavy for you. Let's go down to a lighter weight. Stop trying to show off to the girls because they think you look silly. Okay, and go ahead.
Guys, I'm going to be 63 this year, so anything's possible.
Look, she says she's going to be 63. Okay, that's the number she's giving, but we can see that that's a young woman right there. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. I think any of us would be thrilled to walk beside her on the beach. Okay, just to show her off, right? So the idea though is to do it right, folks. To make sure that you do things right, no matter what you're doing, and take your time. Okay, be mindful in your exercise. Be mindful in your workouts. Paula, you've been a very successful businesswoman, and then you've become a very successful self-care person.
Yeah.
And you've gone on to help hundreds of other individuals.
I have.
And that's what's so amazing to you.
How about thousands?
Okay.
Personally,
Let's hit that. Let's kick it up. Thousands of individuals.
Thousands of individuals.
That said, okay, where can some of us find you? And maybe if they want to chat with you, then we're going to ask you one more question to round things out. Where can
I love it. So I'm on Instagram at healthcoach_Paula. And on Facebook, I'm at Paula Mendelson, and that's MENDELSON space, and then Martino, MARTINO. So you'll find me in both those places. Hit me up.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Absolutely.
I have one last question that I ask all of my guests at the end of the show. And again, it's such a pleasure to have you with us. And
wait, hold on. Before you ask that question, yesterday, and we could tell our viewers, yesterday we did a phenomenal podcast, had a great time together, loved spending an hour with this gentleman. And somehow Zoom just said, okay, I'm not saving it. So, and Henry asked me yesterday about the locus of control and being the dominant force in your life. So I just want to remind everybody that the locus of control in your health is within you, and that you are the only one that can truly allow somebody to ruffle your feathers. And when somebody potentially might ruffle your feathers, I want you to think about, is this happening to me or is it happening for me? And then I want you to pick your big girl pants up on, or boy pants up on, and remember, you are the dominant force in your life.
I'm so glad you gave me the option to have big boy pants. That scares people. No, but that said, that's a powerful statement, and it leads us right into what we're going to ask, and that is, Paula Martino, what does it mean for you to crush your mountain?
Gosh, having a real brush with death, and I'm getting a little, because my father-in-law just passed yesterday. But having my own brush with death and mortality has really given me an eye-opener to really have an attitude of gratitude. And so every morning I wake up and I ask myself, who can I serve? How can I help? Because to me, that's crushing my mountain. Because what gives me joy and what lights my soul on fire is to help people realize their goals and dreams on what they want for their health. So that's what lights my soul on fire.
This is an amazing woman, and I'm so thrilled that we've had this time to learn from her, to hear her story, and to get the encouragement. Understand, and this is a saying that so many individuals need to understand, life itself is a lesson. And the experiences that happen, once we understand that there is something there that we can learn, and then we can use it to help others, and perhaps enrich ourselves, then the challenges are no longer challenges, and no longer problems. They are further tools that helps you to move forward in your path, to crush through the mountain, the obstacle that you're dealing with, regardless of what it is. And we just want to say once again, Paula, we want to thank you so much for being with us. You're an amazing young woman, and I don't care if you say you're 63, we're going to say you're about 16, 17. Okay? We're going to keep you at that age, girl. I know some
hilarious, but thank you.
Some 16-year-olds. I know some 16-year-olds that don't have biceps like that. I know some 30-year-olds that don't have biceps like that. So you are amazing. So we're going to round it out, folks. We thank you so very much for being here with us today. And once again, we're going to say, don't just climb your mountain, crush through it. See you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.